time. Namaste and welcome.
Namaste, bienvenidos.
Burn the boats.
A quemar los barcos.
Burn the boats. That was such a great video. That's Kings and Country.
Ese fue un gran video, quemar los barcos. Es de Country.
Once upon a time, there was a man who was alone.
Érase una vez cuando había un hombre que estaba solo.
But you're not alone. You're with your brother. We go together.
Pero tú no estás solo, tú estás con tu hermano, vamos juntos.
This is the power of joining. If you want to end the war, learn to join.
Y ese es el poder de unirse. Si quieres ver ese poder, únete.
There's so much joy. See, all the fight in the mind is not to join.
Y toda la pelea en la mente es no querer unirse.
All the fight in the mind is avoiding joining to see what's joined.
Toda la pelea en la mente es evadir, no ver qué es la unión.
This is what the ego avoids seeing. It's a war with ourselves.
Y eso es lo que el ego no quiere ver, que es una guerra contra nosotros mismos.
That's all it is. It's just a war against ourselves. There's no one out there to have a war with.
Todo es una guerra contra nosotros mismos. No hay nadie allá afuera con quien guerrear.
Jesus, do I relish a war against myself? Do I like it?
Jesús, ¿me gusta una guerra en contra de mí misma? ¿Me gusta?
Do I relish fighting myself?
¿Disfruto pelear conmigo mismo?
To try to prove that God is dead.
Para tratar de probar que Dios está muerto.
It's time to jump off the dead ship.
Hay que salirnos del barco de la muerte.
See, that's the whole play of consciousness. I'm going to have a dream and I'm going to make everybody else at fault for it.
Y ese es todo el juego. Hacemos un sueño y tratamos de que todos sean culpables de eso.
This is what the ego is at war. It's the belief that war brings peace.
Eso es lo que hace el ego, decir que la guerra trae paz.
Jesus, do I have a belief in my mind somewhere that war brings peace?
Jesús, tengo una creencia de que la guerra trae paz.
Am I willing to see that is not true, Jesus?
¿Estoy dispuesta a ver que eso no es verdad?
Am I willing? Fix that camera. Am I willing to see that no war has ever bring peace and could never bring peace?
¿Estoy dispuesta a ver que ninguna guerra va a poder traer paz nunca?
Because that's what the ego's trying to prove.
Porque eso es lo que el ego trata de probar.
It is trying to prove that somehow war can bring peace.
Porque el ego trata de probar que de alguna manera la guerra trae paz.
And it does not want to see in the mind that war does never bring peace.
Y es el deseo de no querer ver en la mente que la guerra no trae paz.
Do not underestimate how much in the play of consciousness below your awareness, it loves to be at war.
No podemos subestimar cuánto queremos en nuestra mente subconsciente la guerra.
War is a chosen experience.
La guerra es una experiencia deseada.
Jesus, do I like war?
Jesús, ¿me gusta la guerra?
Secretly?
Secretamente. Secretamente.
Do I secretly really like to be at war inside?
Secretamente, en verdad, amo estar en guerra internamente.
That's where the radical self-honesty, that's the only way out of the dream is radical self-honesty.
Esa es la radical honestidad y para salir del sueño necesitamos esa radical honestidad.
So I started off talking, what does burn the boats mean?
¿Qué significa quemar los barcos?
It means that you have to cease to place value on what you think the world is offering you.
Es dejar de darle valor a lo que tú crees que tiene valor en el mundo, que te ofrece el mundo.
Because the world, we created the world, the consciousness miscreated a world.
Porque nosotros creamos el mundo, la conciencia creó el mundo.
And then says, this has value.
Y luego dijo, esto tiene valor, creó falsamente el mundo.
Okay, it's claiming that the world has some kind of value that it does not have.
Es en la creencia de que esto tiene alguna clase de valor que no tiene.
It's valuing a war inside.
Es valorar internamente esta guerra.
With the belief that war will bring happiness and peace.
Con la creencia de que la guerra va a traer felicidad y paz.
Ask Jesus, because this is where the real honesty comes in, of wanting to transcend, being able to transcend this, the dream of suffering, despair.
Preguntémosle a Jesús, porque esta es la forma de trascender el sueño de desesperación.
Jesus, subconscious level, do I value war inside more than I do the infinite love of God?
En el subconsciente, Jesús, disfruto la guerra más de lo que amo a Dios.
How do you know you value war?
¿Cómo te puedes dar cuenta que tú valoras la guerra?
Well, we know from establishing an honest relationship with Jesus.
Cuando establecemos una relación honesta con Jesús,
that he will tell you what you value in the subconscious mind. He'll tell you.
Él te dirá dónde estás valorando la guerra.
If we're willing, he will say, look, here's what you value more than the love of God.
Mira aquí dónde estás valorando la guerra más que el amor de Dios.
And it is profound. You can do a lot of looking, and the ego will still avoid seeing that it values war more than the peace of God.
Y el ego va a tratar de que no veamos que valoramos más la guerra que el amor de Dios.
And that there is a belief below the level of awareness that war that's being fought below the level of awareness.
Y esta guerra que estamos pensando por debajo de nuestro nivel de conciencia,
okay, is this asteroid belt of hell, all these thoughts and feelings and emotions.
Todo este cinturón de asteroides de emociones, pensamientos y deseos.
Billions of fragments.
Billones de fragmentos.
Is of greater value than having Jesus take you to each one and say, here's what you believe about this one and get your miracle.
Son más valorados que escuchar a Jesús que nos diga, mira aquí donde los valoras y mira aquí el milagro.
If there's not a decision in the mind to get an immediate, I'm going to get a miracle now, the now miracle.
Si no tenemos la decisión de tener un milagro inmediatamente.
Okay, the real miracle mindedness where every twitch, it's like, there's no discussion. I don't need to know anything other than Jesus says I need to release that to a miracle.
y donde valoramos y le preguntamos a Jesús, ¿necesito aquí un milagro?
And then accepting it. Otherwise, you're at war.
Y aceptarlo. De otra manera estás en guerra.
That the belief is that that desired experience under awareness in the asteroid belt is of greater value than all the love of the Father.
Porque hay esta creencia de todo esto debajo del cinturón de esteroides que creemos que es más valioso que el amor del Padre.
The fastest way to move through it is to get that voice in your mind of Jesus and then start letting him show you, and saying no, no, no to anything the ego throws out.
Y la mejor manera y la manera más rápida es tener esta voz que te dice no, 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 y te demuestra los milagros rápidamente.
It takes a lot of looking, a lot of full-time looking.
Y requiere mucho mirar, con tiempo completo, mirar tiempo completo.
I've said this before, asking Jesus, am I just the most difficult case you have?
Y yo he dicho que yo le preguntaba a Jesús, Jesús, ¿yo soy un caso muy difícil?
Everybody's lining up. No, I'm the hardest case Jesus will ever have.
Y todos van a estar discutiendo, no, no, yo soy el caso más difícil, Jesús, yo soy.
Look, remember, you're talking to the one that did not want to speak to Jesus, did not want to talk about Jesus, did not want to tell anybody, I'm hearing Jesus.
Y recuerden que están hablando con alguien que no quería escuchar a Jesús y que no le quería decir a nadie que estaba escuchando a Jesús.
Was embarrassed to tell anybody I spoke to Jesus.
Era embarazoso decir que yo estaba escuchando a Jesús.
Okay, so how about that for real humor and consciousness? Now all I talk about is Jesus.
Y mira, para el humor de esto, ahora yo estoy hablando a Jesús.
This is definitely a symbol that it's possible for everyone.
Y esto simplemente es un símbolo de que es posible para todos.
But the fundamental admission has to be,
Pero la admisión fundamental tiene que ser:
the war does not work.
la guerra no funciona.
And to see with Jesus very directly where you believe that war will get you happiness. Ask him.
Que mires profundamente con Jesús, ¿dónde crees que la guerra te da felicidad?
That's humbling.
Eso es humilde.
Find out. That's why we have honesty of God.
Encuentren eso, esa es la honestidad de Dios.
It's so hilarious. We think, oh my gosh, we will win the war and then we have freedom.
Entonces creemos que hay una guerra y luego vamos a tener libertad.
Meanwhile, this is what's really happening.
Y esto es lo que en verdad va a pasar.
Just a puppet voice. We're just a little puppet talking to ourselves and fighting God and telling God this is how it works.
Esta va a ser una marioneta peleando en contra de Dios y diciendo que esto sí funciona.
Every single one of those strings, you've given over your power to the ego.
Cada una de estas hilos se le está dando poder al ego.
That's why he has you say only what he tells you to say.
Por eso él te guía que digas únicamente lo que él dice que digas.
So that you're not speaking the serpent voice, the voice of the puppet.
Así no estás hablando la voz de la serpiente, la voz de la marioneta.
That's why he has you do it to break those strings of the puppet mask, the puppet.
Por eso es que tienes que romper esas cadenas de la marioneta, hilos.
The only way to transcend it, because you can't see where, this is what I realized, I couldn't see where I was on the puppet strings.
Y por eso es que requerimos este apoyo, porque nosotros no sabemos dónde están las hilos de la marioneta. Estamos
This
siendo
is
manejados
why
por estos hilos.
this is why I realized I have to trust him 100% because he's going to be the one who knows where I'm on the puppet string.
Y por eso es que tenemos que confiar 100% en él para que nos diga dónde estamos siendo manejados por los hilos de la marioneta.
I had no idea how I was at war with myself all the time, 24/7.
Yo no sabía cómo funcionaba eso conmigo misma todo el tiempo, 7 por 24.
That's what Jesus is for, to show us and reveal to us where we're at war with ourselves.
Y para eso es que está Jesús, para mostrarnos dónde estamos en guerra contra nosotros mismos.
So, how do you know you're at war with yourself?
Así que, ¿cómo sabes dónde estás en guerra contigo mismo?
You think that following Jesus is going to be bad for you. That's war with yourself.
¿Tú crees que seguir a Jesús es algo malo para ti? Eso es estar en guerra contigo mismo.
War with yourself is refusing to join with your brother to look deeply with Jesus and be coached to a miracle.
Y, can you repeat that, Kate? Sorry.
War with yourself is refusing to join with your brother and let Jesus coach you to a miracle.
La guerra contra ti mismo es no unirte con tu hermano y dejar que Jesús te entrene.
Okay? War with yourself is not joining in a moment of light, immediately joining with Jesus and saying, what is it really?
Guerra contra ti mismo es no unirte inmediatamente para ver qué hay para mirar con Jesús.
Okay, so this is what instead of joining immediately,
Y en lugar de unirnos inmediatamente,
okay, this is what the ego's doing.
esto es lo que el ego hace.
Okay, it's dancing around the truth without looking at it and picking up and taking responsibility for the mind.
Es bailar alrededor de la libertad y no tomar responsabilidad de la mente.
There's a spectacular dance in Mexico called the Mexican hat dance.
Y hay un baile espectacular en México que es el baile del sombrero.
But it's a great symbol of how we dance around what the real problem is.
Y es un gran ejemplo de cómo bailamos alrededor de lo que es el verdadero problema.
Okay, I'm gonna pause this a minute. Okay, I'll pause it. Let me come back. Okay, now I'm going to play that again, but I want to let Maria do the translation on that. Okay, we dance around the truth instead of picking it up and taking responsibility and putting the hat on our head and go, what? Show me Jesus.
Y bailamos alrededor del sombrero y no tomamos el sombrero en lugar de tomar el sombrero y ponérnoslo en la cabeza y decirle, bueno, Jesús, que
So it looks
muéstrame
like,
Jesús.
at first it looks like a lot of fun.
Y en un principio parece como algo divertido.
Okay? Dancing around the hat.
Bailar alrededor del sombrero.
But you do that hat dance for 4 or 5 hours, you're going to get tired of it.
Pero si tú bailas por un par de horas, vas a estar cansado de ese baile.
Okay, now look at this and see after, a couple of million years of doing this, if it's going to still feel good.
Y hemos pasado un par, miles de años y aún nos gusta.
Correct! Olé! She picked up the hat and put it on her head.
Ole, ella ha tomado el sombrero y se lo ha puesto en la cabeza.
It's a symbol. I'm the one who can see the truth. I have all the power to see the truth right now.
Es decir, yo tengo el poder de ver la verdad ahora mismo.
I am no longer going to engage in dancing around, doing the Mexican hat dance and dancing around the truth.
No voy a hacer el baile mexicano de bailar y bailar alrededor del sombrero, alrededor de la verdad.
It's acceptance of divine power. That's all you're going to find.
Eso es todo lo que vas a encontrar, la aceptación de tu poder divino.
The power that we've always had. Everyone has the power to cease the inner war.
Todos tienen el poder de dejar esta guerra interior, de dejar.
So doesn't that sound crazy? Like there's a war going on in there.
¿Eso no les parece loco? Tenemos una guerra ya interior.
Well, that's why Jesus tells us we're crazy.
Por eso es que Jesús nos dice que estamos locos.
The only way this thing is perpetuated is making an enemy. There has to be an other out there.
Y la única forma que podemos perpetuar esto es hacer un enemigo allá afuera.
So we're going to toss out a projection.
Vamos a poner una proyección.
Okay. This is a projection.
Esta es una proyección.
Okay, see that? It's like a boomerang.
Es como un boomerang.
So with a boomerang, you throw it out there trying to get rid of it. That's what projecting on your brother and on God is.
Entonces lanzamos este boomerang proyectando en Dios y en el hermano.
But if you notice this boomerang closely, notice it comes back and hits him in the head. That's what projection does. You're the one who suffers it.
Pero si te das cuenta, cerca este boomerang viene y te pega en la cabeza. Eso es lo que estamos haciendo.
Okay, you have to see where it's coming from.
Tienes que darte cuenta de dónde viene.
Where the source of the error of thought is, and bring it back and get a miracle on the projection, the desire for war.
Ver de dónde sale el pensamiento de este deseo de la guerra y traerlo.
It's a constant, you'll see that's why watching the mind is so important in this.
Es un concepto y por eso es tan importante mirar la mente, vigilar la mente.
So you can see how the miscreation through thought of a war inside.
Y podemos ver la creación falsa de una guerra interior.
It's fighting the situation. This situation doesn't work and that situation doesn't work.
Y peleamos con las situaciones. Esta situación no funciona, la otra situación no funciona.
And God is punishing me.
Y Dios me está castigando.
And my brother's punishing me.
Y mis hermanos me están castigando.
That's why Jesus flips holy relationships around to get you in proximity with brothers that are going to show you where you're at war yourself.
Por eso es que Jesús nos cambia las relaciones para ponernos en proximidad de las personas donde nos muestran que estamos en guerra con nosotros mismos.
The greatest favorite topic of the ego of how it wants to end war, but it's going to use another war to end that war.
Y la forma favorita del ego es tratar de buscar el final de la guerra para comenzar, pero es el comienzo de otra guerra.
It is really deep to go down in your mind with Jesus and be shown how much you think war is going to bring you happiness.
Es muy útil ir con Jesús en nuestra mente y ver dónde creemos que la guerra nos trae felicidad.
It's profound. It's a constant, unless you're happy all the time, you're in a constant state of war with yourself. That's profound.
Tú estás en un constante estado de guerra contra ti mismo. Esto es profundo.
That's why we need each other. You got to hang on to those mighties that he gives you.
Por eso es que nos necesitamos unos a otros y por eso es tan importante mantenernos con los compañeros que él nos da.
See, when somebody seemingly informed makes you angry, listen to the language.
Cuando creemos que alguien en la forma nos hace poner molestos y ese es el lenguaje que usamos, me hace poner.
Okay. Watch the projection. He makes me angry, makes me.
Entonces decimos, él me hace sentir molesto.
Okay, so that's the voice of this, the voice of the ego speaking.
Esa es la voz del ego hablando.
Okay, you want to reel the projection back and go, I have a desire for an experience of anger.
Y vamos entonces a traer esto a nosotros y decimos, tengo el deseo de una experiencia de estar molesto.
Jesus, show me what that anger, the projection is protecting. It's protecting some kind of experience.
Jesús, muéstrame qué estoy tratando de proteger, esta rabia que está tratando de proteger, alguna clase de
Okay.
proyección.
Our job is done when we say, I'm not at peace, help me.
Cuando decimos, yo no estoy en paz, ayúdame.
The most difficult part of supposed spiritual awakening
La parte más difícil del despertar espiritual
is just getting your miracle without fighting him.
es obtener tu milagro sin pelear.
Because the ego relishes war. It loves war, so it wants to go to war with Jesus. It loves that. Ask Jesus.
Porque al ego le encanta la guerra. Pregúntale a Jesús.
My mic's acting funny. Did I lose it?
What?
Maria, you still there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Let's see. Let me find Renee. Okay, give me a thumbs so you can hear me. So that's good. We lost Maria somehow.
Can you hear me? Okay.
I think I saw Clarette there, maybe.
Elizabeth is on.
Yeah.
Clarette and Elizabeth.
I can hear you, Maria.
Maria is
Yeah.
on. Maria.
I can
Or-
hear Maria.
Okay, because they were gonna trade off, but I'm gonna go to yeah, there's Lisbeth. Lisbeth, can you jump in?
Can you hear me, Kay? Because I can hear you. I don't know. Can you hear me, Renee?
I can hear you, Maria.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I don't know if Kay can hear us. Kay, can you hear me?
Renee, you
can-
can still hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Kay.
Was that a thumbs up?
Yeah, I can.
You can hear me, good. Okay, well,
Can you hear me, Kay? Can
no
you hear me?
translation,
She
Jesus.
can't hear us.
Yeah, yes,
She can't hear
yes,
us.
yes, something is wrong.
Okay, she can't
Espérale.
hear us. We need to message her. So you can't hear us, Kay. I'm messaging her. Okay, there we go. Sometimes my messenger doesn't work. Maria, can you message her? Message her?
Yes, I am.
Tell her to
listening.
go out and come back in. Maria, go out and come back in.
She can't hear us.
Yeah,
You can't
Tell
hear
her
us?
to leave. No, everyone else can hear me. Renee can hear me. Here, let me use your phone. She can she can be on your phone.
Maria.
Yeah, Maria, everyone can hear. Can you there? No, you need to call her. Yeah, gracias.
Okay.
Yes, you have to go out and come back in, Maria.
Okay, but we can hear you.
Everyone
And
can.
Renee, yeah, but
Re-
you don't hear us.
Can you hear me, Kay? Sound check.
Speak. Okay.
Hello? Can you hear
Let's
me?
see. Renee.
Renee is
Hello.
speaking.
I'm speaking. Hello,
Renee, can you
hello.
speak?
Hello, hello. I'm speaking,
hear
I'm
me?
speaking.
That's very odd.
Yes.
We lost sound. Okay, hold on. Okay, so we'll just go forward with you on the phone. I don't know. As long as everyone can hear me okay. We seem to have lost the incoming sound on Zoom. I don't know why. But,
Okay, I can
yeah,
do it by phone.
Yeah, you can just use your phone. Okay. Excellent. Okay.
Vamos a
So
hacerlo por teléfono.
Yep. Okay, so we were talking about how much the ego absolutely relishes that war within.
Estamos hablando de cómo el ego le encanta la guerra contra sí mismo.
Yep. It loves it. It loves the war.
Él ama la guerra.
You can ask him, Jesus, do I love the war?
Podemos preguntar, Jesús, ¿yo amo la guerra?
I'm just checking our sound settings. Yeah, except you'll have to turn the volume off on your phone, Maria. I mean, not on your phone. You have to turn it off on one of either on your computer or here. Now, it's very odd how the sound just cut out.
Estamos verificando. Do you say I have to use one of both?
You have to turn the volume off on either your computer or on the phone.
Okay.
So the sound that you
Okay,
can't be receiving them from both and have this work. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah. So the war within.
Así que la guerra contra sí mismo.
There's so much rage. There's total rage
Hay
underneath
mucha
that.
rabia.
And you won't see it unless you're working closely with Jesus.
No la puedes ver hasta que no trabajes de cerca con Jesús.
Okay, he's really your partner to show you every place in the mind where you want to fight him.
Él es el que te va a mostrar en los lugares en tu mente donde estás peleando contra ti mismo.
Because the ego has to make something bad. See, it has to make God wrong. It has to make God a God of attack.
Porque el ego tiene que hacer a Dios equivocado para poderlo atacar.
That's why taking responsibility through mind is so important, that you're responsible for seeing where you're not at peace.
Por eso tomar responsabilidad de la mente es tan importante, para ver dónde no estás en paz.
And then be willing to ask for help from something outside.
Y ver dónde pedir ayuda de algo afuera.
I'm just checking one more thing here, just to see if I can get the sound working.
Estoy tratando de chequear algo aquí para ver si puedo lograr el sonido.
So I'm going to go to the Course in Miracles, to chapter 23. It's a whole chapter about the war against ourselves.
Entonces vamos a ver el curso de milagros. Para mí era el capítulo 23. Es todo un capítulo de la guerra en contra de sí mismo.
Every game of the ego, almost every one, is outlined in here, in this book.
Cada línea de este curso es una guerra contra nosotros mismos.
But the point of the book, even as some people claim 60,000 words were left out, and they were.
Can you repeat that, Kay?
Some claim of expressed concern about the course that 60,000 words were left out of the Blue Book.
Hay personas que se quejan del tamaño de este libro, de todas estas palabras que tiene.
But there's certainly enough in there for you to get a conversation going with Jesus so he can tell you which words you need to know that are not in the Blue Book.
Pero afortunadamente tenemos a Jesús que nos puede decir cuáles son las guerras que estamos teniendo que no están en este libro azul.
Okay, I'm talking about the Foundations version.
Estoy hablando de la versión de la fundación.
The thing that is missing for sure, but you can get it in Jesus and New Covenant, is what he has to say about sexuality. There's a big war going on there.
Y si hay algo que hace falta, pueden ir a Jesús un nuevo convenio, a la parte de la sexualidad donde habla de esto.
So in paragraph 2, he says,
En el parágrafo 2, él dice,
how strange and deep becomes the war against yourself.
qué extraña se vuelve en verdad esta guerra contra ti mismo.
You will believe that everything you use for sin can hurt you and become your enemy.
No podrás sino creer que todo aquello de lo que te vales para los fines del pecado puede herirte y convertirte en tu enemigo.
This is one of the most difficult things that we do to ourselves, okay?
Estas son las cosas más difíciles que nos hacemos a nosotros mismos.
You judge the judging, to think you can protect yourself by judging the judging.
Tú proteges al juzgador que juzga para protegerlo.
The state of it takes to get to a state of spiritual maturity that you just look at what's appearing without judgment and just go, Jesus, tell me. It's a big shift.
Es importante no juzgar y decirle a Jesús que nos muestre esto sin juicio.
Because the ego it's defensive. It's going to defend itself and it fights all the time. You have to get to the point, no fighting with Jesus, just show me and just look at it neutrally, whatever he shows you.
Y es porque el ego le encanta defenderse y tenemos que ir a Jesús, muéstrame lo que tengas que mostrarme sin defendernos.
Your function,
Hijo,
the way out of the fight is to see what your function is.
y la forma como te sales de esto es aceptando cuál es tu función.
Lay down the swords. Put the scissors down. Put them down.
Deja las espadas en el piso, pon las tijeras en el piso.
That's why he says, join with me in a moment of light. That's it. Like that, join.
Por eso el que dice, únete a mí en un instante de luz.
The war is the fight against seeing what is joined.
La guerra es pelear para no ver qué es unirse.
So what joining is a symbol of it's refusing to judge anything. It's saying, I'm not going to judge this. I'm going to see the truth.
Es no juzgarla y decir, voy a ver la verdad sin juicio.
I'm willing to see the truth.
Estoy dispuesto a ver la verdad.
So Jesus, do I believe what I made can hurt me? That's the
Jesús, creo que lo que yo hice me puede herir.
So it's actually making a war so we can feel hurt and then telling Jesus how much happiness we can get from a war.
Es ver que nos hacemos esto nosotros y después decirle a Jesús, mira toda la felicidad que yo obtengo de esto.
That's insane, you guys.
Eso es locura, chicos.
And you will fight against it and try to weaken it because of this.
Y Y así lucharás contra ello y tratarás de debilitarlo.
And you will think you have succeeded and attack again.
Y creyendo haberlo logrado, atacarás de nuevo.
In the play, it's a belief that attacking and defending it's attack and defense is just keeping the war going.
Porque en el juego de la conciencia no vemos que atacar y defendernos es mantener la guerra andando.
How do you stop the war inside?
¿Cómo detienes la guerra interior?
Drop the swords, get your miracle.
Deja las espadas y obtén el milagro.
What do you need me to see, Jesus? What's that twitch?
Pero necesitamos a Jesús. ¿Cuál es que nos muestre cuál es la molestia?
It's relishing sin. You can ask Jesus, do I really relish keeping sin in my mind and then defending myself against sin that I made?
Jesús, can you repeat that, Kay?
Jesus, do I love sin? Do I love defending, keeping sin?
Jesús, disfruto mantener el pecado.
See, it's unexamined.
Es algo que no se ha examinado.
The whole challenge is not really standing back and going, let me really look at this.
El reto está en que no queremos parar y decir, venga, miro esto.
Let me see if I have this right about what's happening below my level of awareness.
Y veamos si esto está pasando debajo de mi nivel de conciencia.
Innocent curiosity. That's it.
Es una inocente curiosidad.
No defenses today.
No sin defensas hoy.
Just kind of curious. I'm going to kind of see how things work. And I got my friend here who's going to help me see it.
Es como una clase de curiosidad. Voy a ver y tengo a mi amigo aquí para que me acompañe a ver.
And if he shows me something, I'm going to admit I'm wrong and save myself a lot of time.
Y si él me dice que yo estoy equivocada, voy a decir que está bien y ahorrarme así mucho tiempo.
I can see how as soon as there was it's always a decision. As soon as there was a decision in my mind not to value the valueless.
Es una decisión en la mente de no valorar lo que no es valioso.
It's placing value on hearing the voice.
Es darle valor a escuchar la voz.
It's valuing if you pointed to a desire, to drop it like a hot potato with and get a miracle.
Y ver el deseo y soltarle como una papa caliente y obtener el milagro.
No, instead of following or getting a miracle, we just wander around in the asteroid belt, wandering from asteroid to asteroid.
Es en lugar de ir de asteroide a asteroide dando la vuelta.
Here's how to deal with the ego.
He aquí cómo lidiar con el ego.
Just say no.
Simplemente di no.
The biggest challenge is not invoking divine power to say no to that.
El gran reto es que no invocamos el poder de Dios para decir no.
You know, and relishing the Mexican hat dance and dancing around instead of pick up the hat, get my miracle.
Y disfrutar el baile del sombrero y dar vueltas y no coger el sombrero y obtener rápido el milagro.
Oh, paragraph 3. Walk you in glory with you. Go ahead. Paragraph 3.
Okay.
Walk you in glory with your head held high and fear no evil.
Camina gloriosamente con la cabeza bien alta y no temas ningún mal.
So he made evil so he can fear it. Ask Jesus. That's just ridiculous.
Nosotros hacemos el mal y es para poderle tener miedo. Pregúntenle a Jesús.
And because you like it, ask him, Jesus, do I like miracle?
Porque te gusta. Pregunta, Jesús, ¿me gusta?
The number of beings in the play of consciousness that says you have to have good darkness and light. You have to have, you'll never get rid of all the darkness inside.
El número de seres que dicen, tú no vas a poder liberarte de la oscuridad.
Well, that is true because you cannot get rid of it because you made it.
Y eso es cierto porque tú mismo lo hiciste.
But you do have divine power to see that none of it's true.
Pero tú tienes el poder divino de decir que no, que eso no es verdad.
And cease to invest in that good and evil play.
Y dejar de invertir en este juego del bueno y malo.
Every time the apple of delusion is bitten, that's a desire for inner war.
Cada vez que mordemos la manzana, es el deseo de una guerra interior.
Innocence is so important. It's so important. You're innocent.
La inocencia es muy importante. Tú eres inocente.
But you have to see how you play the game of face of innocence.
Pero tú tienes que darte cuenta cómo juegas el juego de la cara de inocencia.
So what's the difference?
¿Cuál es la diferencia entonces?
Well, primordial innocence of God.
What?
Primordial, original innocence of God.
La inocencia original de Dios.
Nothing happened.
Nada, no, en ella nada pasa.
But face of innocence is to say nothing happened when you very well believe something happened.
Pero la cara de inocencia es decir que nada está pasando cuando tú en verdad sabes que algo, crees que algo está pasando.
Face of innocence is pretending that you do not know what's going on in your subconscious mind.
La cara de inocencia es no darte cuenta de lo que está pasando en tu mente subconsciente.
It's pretending like, oh, how did that happen?
Es como pretender de decir, ¿cómo está pasando eso?
Okay, that's how the trick of time is. You throw the boomerang out and you forget that you threw it out, and then it bonks you in the head and you go, God did it.
Es el truco de no ver que yo me estoy botando esta basura y de decir que Dios lo hizo.
God did it.
Dios lo hizo.
Oh my gosh. Something out there did it to a me, see?
Algo allá afuera me lo hizo a mí.
That's face of innocence.
Esa es la cara de inocencia.
It's like, so that's why he says for a time, nothing actually has happening, but because you don't believe it, you have to admit that you believe something did happen.
Tú, en verdad nunca nada ha pasado, pero tú tienes que ver, tú crees que sí ha pasado.
Until you see that your mind is powerful enough to say, I'm not putting up with that, and just say no. See, when you see your mind's powerful and something happens, you just go, nope, I'm not playing that game of war. Nope.
Cuando te das cuenta lo poderoso que es tu mente, simplemente puedes decir, no voy a jugar ese juego de la guerra.
Ask Jesus whether you think the war in your mind is fun. Ask him.
Pregúntale dónde en la mente tú crees que la guerra es divertida.
Jesus, this is where honesty is so important. Do I?
Entonces, Jesús, por eso es que la honestidad es tan importante. Jesús.
Do I think the war within, somewhere in my subconscious mind, do I think that will bring me happiness?
Jesús, en alguna parte de mi mente subconsciente creo que la guerra me trae felicidad.
Jesus, am I willing to fight to the death to keep the war within? Ask him, honesty of God, you got to see it.
En la honestidad de Dios, Jesús, disfruto. What's the question? Okay.
Am I willing to fight to the death to keep the war within going?
Estoy dispuesta a pelear hasta la muerte para mantener la guerra que continúe.
See, if you're not following 100%,
Y si tú no estás siguiendo el 100%,
you're still willing to fight to the death to keep the war going inside.
tú estás peleando hasta la muerte para mantener la guerra interior.
If you're not joining immediately to get a miracle, you're still thinking you can get heaven from a war.
Si tú no te unes rápidamente para obtener un milagro, aún crees que en la guerra te da el cielo.
But once I realized this doesn't work, I've got to get a miracle on every one of these.
Pero cuando te das cuenta de que esto no está funcionando y que tienes que obtener un milagro en cada uno de ellos,
As I said, I saw I couldn't find my way out of a paper bag. I really needed Jesus to get me out of this mess.
y porque yo me di cuenta que necesito a Jesús para salir de este desastre que he hecho.
And this is the crazy thing. Who sits in a conversation with their friends and go, I really like war? Who says that?
Pero ¿quién se une con un compañero y le dice, mira, a mí me gusta la guerra?
No.
¿Quién dice eso?
The government needs to stop the war. The government needs to protect people in Ukraine. Whatever it is that it's talking about having to do with war.
Pero decimos, no, el gobierno debe protegernos, el gobierno debe acabar esta guerra de Ucrania. Cualquier cosa de estas.
Anything out there, not to look here and see the war is in my mind. I'm fighting myself constantly.
Cualquier cosa para no darnos cuenta de que la guerra está en mí y para mantenerla.
And then really admitting the belief of how much happiness comes from the war within, the belief about that. It's humbling.
Y ver cuánta felicidad creemos que obtenemos de la guerra. Eso es humilde.
I'm just going to say, it just takes a lot of focus and looking to end the war within because it's so relished.
Se requiere mucho foco y mirar para acabar la guerra interior porque la disfrutamos mucho.
It's generating a whole world so it can feel in opposition to something and someone and God.
Es como tener un opuesto para pelear, como Dios o alguien más.
That's the misuse of the senses. It uses the eyes and the hearing, sounds and touch to live in opposition.
Y así es como usamos los sentidos, el tocar para estar y todos los sentidos para estar en oposición.
So it can live in opposition to itself. Woohoo!
Y así podemos vivir en oposición contra nosotros mismos. Yuhu.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, Dios santo.
It's not funny when you're in the war.
No es tan divertido cuando estás en la guerra.
But if you're not laughing really hard when you see some of this stuff, you haven't gone deep enough. You haven't gotten the miracle all the way.
Sí, pero si tú no te ríes cuando surgen estas cosas es que no has sido lo suficientemente profundo.
I could see it with Jesus. More to go, grasshopper. I had further to go.
Y como Jesús dice, ¿para dónde vas, saltamontes? Tengo que ir al
It is so humbling to see that it's a chosen war. You're fighting yourself all day. No wonder you're tired. You wonder why you're tired because you're fighting yourself all day long.
Es muy humilde darnos cuenta que pasamos todo el día peleando contra nosotros mismos.
Jesus is trying to say, look, you're holy. Look how powerful. You're powerful, infinite. No, no, no. That's exhausting.
Y Jesús nos dice, mira, tú eras un ser poderoso y nosotros decimos, no, 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 eso es exhaustivo.
The ego goes, see, the ego has a story about why you're tired. There's only one thing happening while you're tired. Ask Jesus.
Y cuando estamos cansados, solo está pasando una cosa. Pregúntenle a Jesús.
Fatigue comes from being at war with yourself. That's...
La fatiga viene de estar en una guerra en contra de ti mismo.
It's miracle constipation.
Eso es un estreñimiento de milagros.
If you're tired, you cannot interpret it. The ego loves to interpret that. Go to him and ask him, why am I tired, Jesus?
Y si estamos cansados, queremos interpretar, pero can you repeat that as far, Kate?
You go to Jesus, ask him, why am I tired, Jesus?
Simplemente vamos a Jesús y le preguntamos, Jesús, ¿por qué estoy cansado?
I'm asking if he's going to tell you you're in miracle constipation. Yes, he will.
Y va a preguntarle si él te diría que es un estreñimiento de milagros, si él lo haría.
It's humble. But the fight is not to see the infinite power you have to change your mind about all of it.
Toda la pelea está en no querer ver el poder que tenemos para cambiar esto.
The reason why the world ends in happy laughter, because you say everything that happens, you chose it.
I can repeat that because I lost my headphones for a while.
But you can also see that you can unchoose it.
Tú tienes que darte cuenta que tú puedes dejar de elegirlo.
That's what the ego does not want to see. Jesus, do I have all power granted to me by God to end the war now? Yes or no?
Jesús, tengo el poder garantizado por el Padre de acabar esta guerra ahora mismo. ¿Sí o no?
But am I willing to accept the divine power to end the war now? Yes or no?
Pero estoy dispuesto a aceptar el poder divino para acabar la guerra ya.
That's where the honesty is so important.
Ahí es donde la honestidad es tan importante.
I could end the war, but I don't want to. That's humbling to see.
Yo puedo acabar la guerra, pero no quiero. Eso es muy humilde de verlo.
I don't want to follow you.
No quiero seguirte.
I don't want to join with my brothers.
No quiero unirme con mis hermanos.
Now that I've figured out how looking at desires work, I can sit by myself and do a lot of desires and get rid of them.
Yo puedo por mi propia cuenta darme cuenta cómo funcionan los milagros y lograrlo.
That it completely negates following.
Eso es evitar completamente seguir.
Someone wrote me today and listed like 3 or 4 things and talking about, do I have a desire for people to ignore me? Something like that.
Entonces una persona me escribió hoy como 3 o 4 cosas y decía, tengo el deseo de que la gente me ignore.
So I just say, okay, Jesus, did I say anything about this? Yes or no? See?
Y yo le pregunté a Jesús, ¿debo decir algo acerca de esto? ¿Sí o no?
Yes. Okay, so he said yes. Okay, so what do you want
y
me to?
Dijo, sí.
What do you want me to say, Jesus?
Y dije, Jesús, ¿qué quieres que diga?
So I said, go through the list of things you just listed and ask Jesus if any of those are in guidance.
Entonces le dije, haz una lista de esos y pregunta si alguno de ellos está en guía.
See, we want to get in a war, in a fight, and then ask for help.
queremos entrar en la guerra y luego pedir ayuda.
You can be sure you're going to get in a fight if you're not following guidance, because that's what the ego wants, to have a fight experience.
De seguro estás en una guerra si no estás siguiendo, porque eso es
Okay.
tratar de mantener la experiencia
Now,
que quiere el ego.
It's not to say when you're following, an upset won't arise.
No quiere decir que cuando estemos siguiendo a Jesús no vaya a surgir alguna molestia.
You know, and I've talked about this with Jesus many times.
Y yo he estado hablando con Jesús muchas veces.
Because I'm going, Jesus, I'm following you. How come this is rising up?
Porque yo le digo, Jesús, yo te estoy siguiendo, pero entonces, ¿por qué surge esto?
Because he is revealing it in an ideal way for healing your mind the most.
Porque él te va a revelar la idea de lo que más importante tienes que sanar.
As opposed to you controlling time and space so you can keep having horrific experiences over and over.
Pero tú quieres mantener el control del tiempo y el espacio para tener experiencias horroríficas una y otra vez.
He brings you to the things, the upsets in your mind in the ideal way for you to maximize time.
Pero él te da las ideas para maximizar el tiempo.
So the ego delivers out a hell experience. Here it is, like that.
El ego nos trae estas experiencias del infierno y dice, nos las entrega y dice, aquí están.
And then it goes, here's the reasons I'm upset. So it already decides where it needs a miracle.
Y aquí están las razones por las cuales estoy molesto. Entonces quieres tener
okay, so it's not following and it's not asking Jesus to show what the issue is.
Y no estamos dejando que Jesús nos muestre cuál es la molestia, el tema, el asunto para resolver.
I've talked about it before. Something bad happens in your house and your washing machine's not working.
Y digamos que algo está pasando en tu casa y tu lavadora no está funcionando.
And you go, Jesus, which repairman do I get?
Y decimos, Jesús, ¿cuál persona de reparación debo contratar?
Instead of, Jesus, am I living in the right country?
En lugar de estar preguntando, Jesús, ¿estoy viviendo en el país adecuado?
Is this where you would have me live, Jesus?
¿Este es el lugar donde tú quieres que yo viva, Jesús?
Okay, would you have me live here? What would you have me?
¿Tú quieres que yo viva aquí?
What's most helpful for healing my mind, Jesus?
¿Qué es lo más útil para sanar la mente, Jesús?
To end the war within.
Para acabar esta guerra interior conmigo mismo.
This is where that radical self-honesty is so important.
Por eso es que la radical honestidad es tan importante.
There's no way to say or emphasize enough how important mighty companions, the right mighty companions given by Jesus are for this.
No puedo sobreenfatizar lo importante que son los compañeros poderosos adecuados dados por él en este proceso.
If your highest priority is to end the war within.
Y si tu prioridad más alta es acabar esta guerra interior contigo mismo.
Because you need, he's going to give you, if you really want out of the war.
Porque él te va a dar, si tú quieres acabar esta guerra,
he's going to give you mighties that are uncompromising when it comes to following and getting miracles.
Porque él te va a dar compañeros poderosos que no transingen para obtener los milagros.
He's going to give you mighties that are going to show you everywhere in your mind where you're at war with yourself.
te va a dar compañeros poderosos donde que te muestran dónde estás en guerra contigo mismo.
But you see, the ego doesn't want to turn in and face to see it's an inner war. It's going to project and go, okay, those mighties are bad and I'm leaving.
Pero el ego va a decir, no, esos compañeros no son buenos, los voy a dejar.
It loves, as I've said, blowing the popsicle stand.
A él le encanta volar la paletería.
You know, because that's it, you know, I have the power to go and get rid of these people.
Es como yo tengo el poder de irme y dejar a esta gente.
The very ones he gives you so you can see every place where you're at war with yourself.
Pero los que él te da te muestran dónde está la guerra contra ti mismo.
That's all you'll see when you're upset. You're seeing where you're at war with yourself.
Y eso es lo que ves cuando estás molesto, la guerra contra ti mismo.
Every twitch is a war with yourself.
Cada molestia es una guerra contra ti mismo.
And I can see that once I saw that the tiniest twitch is war with myself, then you're 100% in with him going, I need a miracle. You're constantly in miracle mindedness going, I'm not going to twitch on that.
Y yo estoy constante en milagros, constante obteniendo milagros porque yo digo, la pequeña cosa, la cosa más pequeña que me molesta, que voy por mi milagro.
It's time to end the war. That's what we're brought together for. End the war.
Es tiempo de acabar esta guerra interna.
Like David Hoffmeister says, quit rearranging the chairs on the Titanic.
Como David Hoffmeister dice, deja de arreglar las sillas en el Titanic.
This world doesn't have anything in it that you want. He says that. Jesus says that.
Este mundo no tiene nada que ofrecerte. Eso lo dice Jesús.
It's just one big war zone.
Es una gran zona de guerra.
Until the mind's been purified, and then you're just happy and whatever goes on, you know?
Y mientras tu mente es purificada, y porque después va a hacer lo que va a hacer.
But you got to turn into and face the choice for war. You don't have to experience war. You have to turn in and say, I chose it. I got to stop it. Stop choosing that.
Es parar de elegir la guerra. Tienes que parar y decir, yo elegí esta guerra, yo puedo elegir pararla.
Stop dancing around the hat, put the hat on and go, okay, Jesus, show me where I need a miracle.
Dejar de bailar alrededor del sombrero, tomar el sombrero y decirle, Jesús, muéstrame, dame el milagro.
I'm not really clear on why we can't hear anybody out there, but you certainly can send a question in the chat if you would like to send one. I'd love to hear your questions.
No sé por qué no nos estamos pudiendo escuchar, pero si están invitados a enviar sus preguntas por chat, estaría feliz de contestar.
Anybody have a question about ending the war?
Preguntas acerca
Anybody here have any shares around the war? With Jesus.
¿Alguien quiere compartir algo acerca de la guerra interior que venga de Jesús?
Can you hear me? You can't hear me. Can anyone hear me?
Okay, you can speak into this, Mike.
Yes, this has been quite a session of looking at the war within.
Esta ha sido una gran sesión de mirar la guerra interior.
First, I had to see that I even had a war within because I was sure I did not.
Podría decir que yo no tengo una guerra interior. Estaba segura de que no la tenía.
And then when he had me pay more attention to my mind,
Pero cuando él me pidió que tuviera más atención de mi mente,
there were bombs going off everywhere.
las bombas comenzaron a surgir por todos lados.
So the only way out, like Kay has been saying,
La única vía de salida, como Kay dice,
is just to look directly.
es mirar directamente.
That's the last thing I wanted to do.
Nada más que hacer.
But being around here,
Pero estando alrededor de aquí, estando aquí,
you don't get away with anything.
no podemos dejar nada.
Actually, if I knew how much he was telling her, okay, don't talk to Mary about this, but talk to Mary about this, I would probably be surprised at how much there is.
Sorry, can you repeat that? I
Well,
lost the idea.
There's just a lot, I'm sure, that Jesus could point out to me that he very gently does not point out to me about everything.
Yo sé que Jesús gentilmente me va a apuntar y me va a mostrar cada cosa.
So what he's had me be real honest about
Algo que Jesús me ha mostrado de lo que debo ser honesta,
is how much I love the war within.
de cuánto amo la guerra interior.
I had no idea.
No tenía ni idea.
No, I thought, oh, well, yeah, I get a little upset about this, and yeah, I'd like to kill off that brother, but no big deal.
Sí, como que yo decía, yo estoy molesto acerca de esto, quiero matar a mi hermano, pero como que no era un gran problema.
So the more I was in denial,
Pero entre más estaba en esta negación,
the unhappier I was, and I was tired.
la infelicidad era mayor y estaba cansada.
Tired of fighting all this.
Cansada de esto.
So let's see what he wants me to say next.
Dejemos saber qué me quiere que diga ahora, después de eso.
What I'm hearing is that the value that we get from joining in the light circles and in the chapter 20 groups cannot be overestimated.
Y lo que escucho es que no podemos subestimar el valor que tienen los círculos de luz y las uniones del capítulo 20.
And he's been showing me how most of the time I just want to run for the hills. I don't want to look at what's true.
Y me muestra cómo yo quiero correr por las montañas y no ver la verdad.
And so he's given us this remarkable opportunity to join with our brothers and just really dig deep.
Y nos está dando esta oportunidad maravillosa de unirnos con nuestros compañeros e ir profundo, profundo.
So another Mighty and I this afternoon were joining to look at the desire for the war within.
Esta tarde nos unimos con una compañera para mirar la guerra interior.
And then we joined with Kay to share what we were hearing from Jesus.
Y luego nos unimos con Kay para hablar de lo que habíamos escuchado de Jesús.
And when I walked into that joining, I didn't think I was going to stay. I was like, I'm blowing this popsicle stand. This is too much.
Y cuando estamos ahí, yo decía, esto es demasiado, voy a volar esta paletería.
I was valuing all the outpicturing in my mind of what I thought was happiness.
Yo estaba valorando todo lo que yo creía que me imaginaba que era la felicidad.
More than I was valuing honesty of God.
Más de lo que yo estaba valorando la honestidad de Dios.
And I definitely did not want to take responsibility for what was showing up.
Y definitivamente no quería tomar responsabilidad de lo que estaba surgiendo.
Yeah, the ego mind, the Mary mind has made miracles anathema.
The ego mind, what? The ego mind.
It's made miracles, accepting miracles like, no, I'm not accepting miracles. That means I lose.
Porque la mentalidad de ego cree que aceptar milagros es perder.
So it's only in just, and then where my ego mind goes is I want to judge myself. I don't want to see myself as innocent.
Y ver que yo no me quiero ver a mí misma inocente, me quiero juzgar a mí misma.
So it makes accepting miracles just about impossible.
Y eso hace que aceptar los milagros parezca imposible.
And just to begin to allow that voice to speak.
Y apenas permitimos que esa voz hable.
And trust that voice.
Y confiamos en esa voz.
Whether it comes through Kay or a brother or in journaling.
Que viene a través de Kay o de un hermano o de lo que estamos escribiendo.
That this is the way out.
Lo que estamos haciendo. Ese es el camino de salida.
That this is the way out.
Ese es el camino de salida.
And so that's what happened for me this afternoon.
Y eso fue lo que pasó esta tarde para mí.
It seemed so intractable.
Y que no es útil.
Yes, I walked in here with the joining this afternoon, and I'm like, there's no way out of this. I don't see it.
Es como que no hay salida de esto, como que no la veía.
And the Mary mind wants to think she knows how God works.
Y la mentalidad de Mary quería decirle a Dios cómo tenía que funcionar esto.
But just by the willingness to look at this desire for war within directly.
Pero solo con la voluntad de ver este deseo de la guerra interior.
That wanting energy starts to disappear.
Esa energía del gusto por este deseo comenzó a desaparecer.
I'm kind of laughing because I did not fully accept a miracle this afternoon. So Jesus is going, Mary, what about now?
Entonces Mary dice que ella no aceptó completamente el milagro esta tarde. Entonces que Jesús le está como golpeando, hey, el milagro.
Is there any willingness to give up that war within?
¿Hay alguna voluntad de querer acabar esa guerra interior?
Yes, there's some willingness to give up that war within.
Sí, hay una voluntad de acabar esa guerra.
And then just trust and go for it.
Y simplemente es confiar y ir por ello, ir por el milagro.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Yeah, there's always this concept. See, there's actually in the mind, the way consciousness plays is that we're giving something up. You see, because in order to give something up, that means we're giving something that values. See, we're giving that up. And just in a distinction on this is no, all we have to do is there's nothing we're giving up. You see, we're just seeing. Oh,
Estábamos hablando que hay este concepto de que creemos que tenemos que renunciar a algo, que tenemos que entregar algo, que tenemos que dar algo.
because the ego's going, I can hold on to this, and if I give it up, what am I getting?
Yeah.
Es como el ego dice, puedo tener esto, y si lo entrego, ¿qué me van a dar?
But all we're doing is I'm seeing what I already have.
Pero realmente es darnos cuenta de lo que ya tenemos.
All I'm doing is admitting what I already have, and I'm going to stop denying what I already have.
Es dejar de negar lo que ya tenemos, es dejar de negarlo.
So all I'm going to do is see that war, I was confused because I thought war had value and it would get me happiness.
Entonces es darnos cuenta de que creíamos que estábamos equivocados, que creíamos que la guerra nos iba a dar felicidad.
But if I look at it kind of neutrally, maybe I could discover that I'm confused and there really isn't any value in war.
Pero si lo vemos neutralmente, podemos darnos cuenta de que quizá no hay ningún valor en la guerra.
Error of thought.
Un error de pensamiento.
A little boo-boo in my mind.
Una pequeña fugu en mi mente.
War can't bring me happiness. I am happiness.
La guerra no me puede traer felicidad. Yo soy felicidad.
That's all we're ever fighting. The fight is not to see what we already are.
Esa es la pelea, de tratar de pelear para ver lo que ya somos.
Get lost, Jesus. I don't want to see what I am. That's all we're ever saying.
Sí, Jesús, no quiero ver lo que yo soy.
It's all the same thing. Everything's the same thing.
Todo es lo mismo.
It's either, I'm happiness, or, I can get happiness in war.
Es como darnos cuenta, yo soy felicidad en lugar de creer que obtenemos la felicidad de la guerra.
And finally going, trying to get happiness in war doesn't actually work, so maybe I'll just be happiness instead.
Es como darnos cuenta que no podemos obtener la felicidad en la guerra, es mejor darnos cuenta que somos la felicidad.
And then that's the fruit of the miracles, because it just washes out the denial that we're happiness. We quit valuing war.
Ese es el valor de los milagros, que nos muestra que somos la felicidad y así renunciamos a la guerra.
So Mary's looking at releasing the idea that war and attack and defense has value.
Entonces Mary está trabajando en la creencia de que la guerra, el ataque y la defensa tiene valor.
But we practice it so much thinking if we attack something or we defend something, if we're at war, we can be happy, it will be happy as long as we can attack and defend something.
Es como creer que tenemos la felicidad si estoy atacando y defendiendo algo.
But we don't see it. It's such a reflex, we're that puppet string pulls and we attack or we defend. See, we're like this all day.
Pero no vemos que la marioneta está estos hilos donde estamos atacando y defendiendo.
Twitching like a puppet is not natural. It's not natural.
Estar incomodándonos o molestándonos como una marioneta no es natural.
So every miracle, you're clipping one of those strings off.
Cada milagro, lo que estás haciendo es cortando estos hilos.
It's the puppet's going like this. That's face of innocence. No, you just No, a miracle for that. And Jesus clip, and he'll show you all the strings to clip, and then you can be free.
En la cara de inocencia es ese movimiento de la marioneta, pero cada milagro es cortar y darte cuenta de que eres libre.
Real freedom. You don't have to fight for freedom.
Real libertad. No tienes que pelear por la libertad.
You are freedom itself.
Tú eres la libertad en sí mismo.
That's happiness.
Eso es felicidad.
It takes a lot of courage, this looking, because we're afraid of ourselves.
Se requiere mucho mirar porque nosotros estamos miedosos de nosotros mismos.
And we
Somos
like it.
miedosos.
We like being afraid. Ask Jesus. Jesus, do I like being afraid of what I made? Yes, I do. Okay.
Jesús, disfruto sintiéndome miedosa de lo que yo fabriqué.
Every time you don't follow, you're afraid of what you made. See, that's why we don't follow, because we're afraid of what we made.
Cada vez que lo seguimos es que tenemos miedo de lo que fabricamos.
But following will just reveal that you have nothing to be afraid of.
Pero seguirlo es darnos cuenta que no hay nada que temer.
And then you work until you have that collaboration with Jesus, and he can show you all the error of thought.
Pero entonces tú trabajas en colaboración con Jesús para que te muestre dónde tienes miedo.
Thank you, Mary. That's beautiful, actually.
Gracias,
Very
Mary.
beautiful.
Eso fue hermoso.
A lot of self-honesty there. Beautiful.
Hay mucha honestidad.
Let me see. Maybe we can ask Lina if she would come share.
Pregunté para Lina si ella quiere venir a compartir.
Because she's been looking at, it's the fight. It relishes a fight. The ego loves that.
Y el ego le encanta esta pelea. Le gusta pelear.
Hola a todos.
Hi everyone.
Bueno, he podido ver cuánto disfruto la guerra.
I have seen that I love war.
Y la primera vez que me dijeron que la guerra era contra Dios, era como que no lo podía ver.
When I hear for first time that the war was with God, I didn't believe it.
Pero hoy me lo mostró Jesús.
But Jesus showed me that today.
Es impresionante la cantidad de energía que hay ahí.
There is a lot of energy on that.
Y pude ver durante esta mirada que mi propia mente bloqueaba la liberación de esto.
I could see that my own mind was blocking this relation and releasing.
Es una de las estrategias del ego para no liberar.
It's one of the ego strategies to not to see.
Yo pedí ayuda y me uní con la hermana poderosa.
And I asked for help and I joined with a mighty companion.
Y realmente tenía que renunciar a esta guerra.
¿Renunciar a qué?
Tenía que renunciar a esta guerra.
And he showed me that I had to quit this war.
Así es que le pregunté a Jesús, ¿tengo la voluntad de hacer esto, Jesús? Y me dijo que sí.
And I asked Jesus, do I have the willingness to quit this war? And he said yes.
Así es que me he mantenido pidiendo milagros.
So I have been keeping asking for miracles.
De hecho, ya tengo tiempo pidiendo milagros.
And I have been asking for miracles for a while.
Pero algo que me queda muy claro con respecto a mí
But something that I can see in this
es que tengo que seguir 100% a Jesús.
is that I have to follow Jesus 100%.
Si yo tomo la manzana, le doy una probadita, ya me estoy haciendo la guerra conmigo misma.
That I can see that when I beat the apple, ¿estoy qué? Cuando muerde la manzana, ¿qué?
Ya me estoy haciendo la guerra conmigo misma.
It's the war with myself.
Y tiene que quedar muy claro esto porque Jesús a mí me ha mostrado
Jesus had shown me also
cómo tomar a la ligera esa manzana y comérsela
how when we take this apple and we eat it,
es decirle no a todo el
Vale.
amor que yo soy, a todo el amor de Dios.
is to say no to all where I am and to all the love of the Father.
Y es que necesito seguir 100% a Jesús para no seguir haciendo esa guerra conmigo misma.
So I have to follow Jesus in order not to continue this war with myself.
La otra cosa que Jesús me mostró,
The other thing that Jesus showed me,
porque yo le pregunté, Jesús, ¿tengo el poder de decirle alto a esta guerra?
because I asked Jesus if I have the power to say to stop this war,
Y me dijo que sí.
and he says yes.
Y yo puedo ver cómo es mi mente la que fabrica, no es nadie más. Yo acepto esa fabricación.
And I can see that it's my mind that is making this.
Y Jesús me está diciendo, tú tienes que reconocer que no sabes nada.
And Jesus told me, you have to recognize that you don't know anything,
Que yo te tengo que dirigir en todo.
and I have to lead you in everything.
Y hay que tener una confianza firme en Jesús.
And we have to have big trust in Jesus.
Así es que si no obtengo esas características que acabo de definir,
So if I don't have these characteristics,
estos puntos,
these topics,
no puedo dejar de tener la guerra contra mí misma y sé que la disfruto muchísimo.
I cannot stop this war with myself, and I can see that I enjoy it a lot.
Y ya dije, basta, ya no tengo por qué luchar conmigo mismo.
But I say, stop, I don't have to continue with this war.
Y muchas veces Jesús me ha dicho, no te dejes engañar por esa mente engañosa.
And Jesus has told me many times, stop to let this mind engañar. Se me perdió la palabra engañar. ¿Alguien la tiene?
¿Engañar?
No tengo.
¿Tú engañar?
Se me perdió la palabra. I lost one word. Can you?
No te dejes engañar por esa voz engañosa.
Don't be fooled by that misleading voice.
Don't be fooled. Yes.
Porque es muy claro cómo me muestra que me va a ofrecer lo que a mí me gusta más.
And he showed me how this ego is going to offer me the one thing that I like the most.
Pero Jesús me dice, ese regalo es una basura.
But Jesus says that gift is rubbish.
Y ha habido muchas veces en que juegas ese juego y parece que no quieres aprender.
And you have played this game many times and you don't want to learn.
Así es que esto se requiere de determinación.
So you need determination for this.
Y agarrarme firmemente de Jesús, que sea Él el que me dirige y el que me ayude en todo.
And let Jesus direct me and help me.
Gracias.
Most beautiful, hermosa. Beautiful.
Gracias. Gracias, amada.
Nada.
Yeah, this is the fruit of the devotion.
Estos son los frutos de la devoción.
It takes a lot of looking and devotion to see this. For those that want to transcend this world completely,
Para aquellos que quieren trascender completamente este mundo se requiere mucha devoción y mucho mirar.
take the course all the way to see what you are. It's very beautiful.
Para ver lo que tú eres. Esto es muy hermoso.
Thank you, Lina. The beautiful
Gracias,
mighty.
Lina.
You'll see how valuable
Hermoso.
these mighties are that are willing to stand into the truth.
Ver lo importante que son estos poderosos compañeros que se mantienen en la verdad.
Oh my gosh, we're so blessed. We're so blessed.
Oh Dios santo, somos muy bendecidos, muy bendecidos.
So if you have other questions about it, you can just text them to us, text them to me, and I'll answer them if it's helpful.
Entonces, si tienen preguntas adicionales, me las pueden textear a mí y yo les respondo si es útil.
You know, I know those questions are for me. It's wonderful to talk to Jesus about everything.
Yo sé que esas preguntas son para mí porque es maravilloso hablar con Jesús acerca de todo.
See, that ends the war within because you're going to holiness all day long. Talking to Jesus is going to holiness.
Porque así paras esta guerra contra ti mismo cada vez que vas a Jesús a la plenitud, a la completitud,
And then, you know,
a la santidad.
it's a reminder of all the love of the Father all day long talking to Jesus.
Hablar con Jesús durante todo el día es el recordatorio de todo el amor del Padre.
Cuts the war off.
Esa es la forma de acabar la guerra.
And you won't want the war. You just see there's no value in it because you see the treasure of the kingdom within you.
Porque así es dejar de valorar lo que tú lo que tú crees que es un tesoro.
It's really important what Lena's talking about, how she's seeing the ego lays out a cafeteria plan of all kinds of different offerings.
Y es muy útil ver lo que Lina decía, que el ego nos ofrece una cafetería de cosas, nos pone todo
So it can keep the war going.
para así mantener la guerra.
So much love, Jesus. Thank you for my brothers.
Mucho amor, gracias, gracias.
Thank you for
Mucho amor de
reminding
mis
me.
hermanos.
It's reminding me of the celebration within all the time.
Es el recordatorio de la celebración todo el tiempo.
Okay, so remember, instead of running away, you want to do this.
Recuerden, en lugar de salir corriendo, ustedes quieren hacer eso.
Get in there and get your miracle and your Jesus hug.
Yeah.
Vayan y obtengan su milagro y obtengan su abrazo de Jesús.
Adios, amigos.
Adiós, amigos.
Mucho
Adiós.
amor.
Bye, pues.
We love
Gracias.
you.
Love you.
Wave goodbye, everybody. They're all going already. Wait. You.
Can you hear me?
Oh, look, Jesus sitting there. Greg's hilarious.
you.